What's good, Raider Nation? The Raiders fired general manager Tom Telesco just 2 days after firing head coach Antonio Pierce. Did you see this coming? Let's talk about it. What's good, Raider Nation? I'm Spicy Raider Girl here with Omar and Scotty Waddy, Raider One. Welcome to For Life, our Raider story. This is our take. And today we are talking about what I think is surprising news. Just 2 days after the Raiders fire head coach Antonio Pierce, which maybe some of us saw that one coming, they go ahead and fire their general manager, Tom Telesco, which I think is a surprise to most of us for two reasons, right? I think we thought after several days he was safe. And also because I thought we all think he did a good job in the draft. We're going to talk about all of that. Let us know what you think in the chat. If you thought that this was a surprising move or if you like this move by the Raiders. Remember, light that torch, hit that like button, subscribe, and join to become a member. And if you're playing along with us tonight, I got a little hot toddy here. The drinking game stayed the same from last show. Fired. Every time we say, you know what to do, Raider Nation. So, guys, were you surprised to hear this news when it came out today, just hours ago, really?
Yes and no. And I'll say yes because it didn't happen earlier. And then no, if I think about bringing in Minshew amongst other veteran quarterbacks that were out there, not re-signing Jacobs. And then I started to think kind of after the fact that there could be, reading some information about, they, making this a package deal to bring in. They didn't do that last time. The only reason why Telesco got the job is because Mark shot from the hip and just said, I want someone who's got experience, and Telesco had the most experience on the street at the time. So I think, we don't know if there was a huge wedge between AP and Telesco, and I think that philosophy is saying, you know what, let's bring in some guys who work together. That could be a telltale sign that AP and Telesco may not have worked together. So those are my thoughts.
All right, Scotty.
First of all, Spicy, I gotta kind of backtrack you there and correct a little bit, if you will. Please don't ever come on a Raider show and use the word surprised, because you know what? I'm done.
There's no surprise.
Just get that out the way right here.
The only consistency is inconsistency. You're correct. My bad. I'll take it.
But really, I partially agree with Omar. I don't know if surprised is the thing. Gardner Minshew could have sunk AP and Telesco, to be quite honest with you. That's very possible. But at the end of the day, if you really think about it, I don't think that's it. I'm taking an optimistic approach to this because I'm saying, okay, there really wasn't that good of a reason to fire AP, but I guess you can justify it. There really isn't a really good reason to fire Telesco.
Right.
Okay, so my optimistic approach is, okay, I guess you guys got something cooking. You think something's going to work here? You got some master plan? All right, let's see what you got. Okay, I'll reserve my thought on it, for whatever you got coming for the Raiders. We'll see.
Yeah, and let's read this statement. This statement to me is weaker than the last one. The thoughts of the Raider Nation are, this is about the fight. Well, we'll say that too, actually. This is not the Telesco statement, but I think this is a great statement as well. The thoughts of the Raider Nation are with everyone impacted by the wildfires in the Southern California area. The bravery of firefighters and first responders who are battling on the front lines to safeguard lives, homes, and communities exemplify true heroism. So yeah, that is a good statement to read as well. And of course, not only because just for humanity. But, the Raiders, obviously, we all know, played in Los Angeles. So it's near and dear to I think, a lot of Raiders fans, most definitely. So well wishes to everybody and Raider Nation that's out there.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely.
So who do you think is making these calls? I'll call on you, Scotty, because I know you have some, let's say, conspiracy theories, but some thoughts behind why these decisions are being made. Because look, I'll touch on it a little bit in terms of the Telesco thing. I guess I was not expecting this because I thought it was one of the best draft classes that I can really remember the Raiders having. Obviously the Brock Bowers. We all, most of us, we were shocked that he went that direction. I think Omar was down with it. But you have, arguably the best draft pick maybe of all time, coming from a Raiders standpoint anyway, record breaking best draft pick of the class. I think maybe that's argument, that's subjective as well, but definitely up there. You have Jackson Powers Johnson, which I think everyone's happy with. You've got DJ Glaze. So I thought he did a really good job. To Omar's point, to you guys' point, the Minshew thing, the Josh Jacobs situation, things like that. But I always thought this was going to be a long-term plan. And that's why I guess I was not expecting it. With those decisions made, the picks he chose, not going a quarterback route, I thought they were going to give him years to build on this. So that's why it came as a little bit of a shock to me. But Scotty, who do you think actually is making these moves? Is it new minority owner Tom Brady? Because he came in mid-season. Now all are being made.
I'm going to stay very consistent. You guys can run the tape back. I think Tom Brady's calling the shots. I think he's been calling the shots even before he became the owner, part owner. How could you? It's almost unfathomable to think that Mark Davis is doing this, because why? Again, we're sitting up here. Everybody saw it. Telesco hit home runs in the draft. Why would you get rid of a GM that hits home runs? So who else could it be? The logic just seems to point at Tom Brady. Again, it goes back to what I think has been happening all along. It's Tom. For me, it's Tom Brady.
Omar, what do you think?
I have to agree. Like I said, I go back to last offseason, and we all thought that the assistant GM would get promoted. And Mark Davis just came, shot from the hip, and said, I want somebody with some experience. Telesco was the guy with the most experience on the streets. Remember, because outside of the assistant GM, they were looking at Dodds, I believe, from Indianapolis.
Yep.
And then here's this whole, he had the experience thing. So like I say, from his fascination with Gruden, doing everything to bring Gruden back, and then to go from one thing, like I was saying on the last show, no structure. That points to no kind of structure, just whoever's in his ear. So definitely, I think Tom Brady is the new voice in the ear. And okay, you know what? But will it be the consistent voice in the ear? And will Tom Brady bring structure? Because just like I was saying on the show before, Tom Brady, what do you know about picking talent and all? And you've never been an executive. You've never been a scout. You've never done any of this stuff. So, you know what I mean? What is he going to bring to the table, and how long will he bring it? Because like I said, will he be the consistent piece that's been missing? Because over the years, it seems that lots of different voices have been in Mark Davis's ear, and thus we get those kind of, emotion of the moment decisions, which has kept that revolving door of coaches.
Omar's making an excellent point. He's making an excellent point. We've known that even as fans getting in Mark Davis's ears seemingly looked like he was making changes. And Omar's absolutely right. What are you going to do? Hey, Tom Brady, can you go sit over there, please? I got other people to listen to. Nah, he's making an excellent point there. I completely agree with that, Omar.
So do you guys think it sounds like he's already kind of interim GM at this point from what you guys are saying? I'm going to go ahead and put up some comments. Omar, if you wouldn't mind, could you read these for the people and we can respond to them?
Mark Davis must be taking advice from his minority owners now, not just from Tom Brady alone. There's something to that. and it's something that I read, is that this could be a decision made by more of like a committee. And of course, Tom Brady will probably be the loudest voice in that committee.
Definitely.
My only thing is, a committee sounds great, whether it's just Tom, whatever you do, man, have some type of structure, have a value that you're running at, and make sure whoever you hire is also chasing that, so you'll get some consistency. Because every year you can have a new idea, but if that idea isn't chasing this one thing or not built into some type of structure, we're just going to keep getting more turnover.
Well, I mean, and how many businesses are built off of that same structure, by having different people, come in and voice their opinions, and then having one person call the shot. As that's a typical business structure in a lot of situations.
Yeah. Companies have board of directors, but still they have a structure which things flow and decisions flow, which makes sure they're not turning on a dime every 5 minutes. And the Raiders just doesn't have that. And hopefully, that's the one thing that's behind closed doors is being said. Like, hey, we can't just keep shooting from the hip, man. We can't have one bad season make you want to go. You gotta have a plan that says these type of things need to happen. This amount of time has to be given. So
we have Alpha and Omega Forever. Hey, he's playing a little GM. Omar, you want to read these off? What do you think of this lineup here?
Louis Riddick, Champ Kelly, or for head coach Ben Johnson and quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Well, my thoughts to that is that I believe, and that if I had a conspiracy about the whole GM thing, it would be this. Ben Johnson had made a statement to the media that he would like to bring in a GM he could trust if he got an head coach job. So in my mind, if you go Ben Johnson, Louis Riddick may not be the guy he's talking about, and Ben Johnson may be the one who literally chooses the GM, as they may want a team, a GM head coach tandem that works well together. So it's going to be hard to kind of choose these guys if you don't understand the ties. And I don't know, Ben Johnson and Louis Riddick could have worked together. I have no idea. I'm just saying, though, that if that's the philosophy as a part of why Telesco is gone, that's going to make it a little bit harder to say who's going to do what, because now you got to start looking for any type of relationship that has been built at some point in time between two people.
So as to your point there, Omar, though, it could be a very valid point, but if you're going to get a head coach picking the GM, then why pay a GM? Just get a head coach who's playing GM also. If he's going to be telling the GM, hey, I want this guy, I want this guy, I want this guy. Well, you don't need a middleman. Maybe that's the play right there. Maybe you're getting somebody in that's going to play both hands.
We used to see stuff like that where head coach was GM, but it became too much. I don't know if that, and maybe I said that incorrectly, where the head coach is literally picking them. They may just say, here's the guys I want to work with, and still Tom and committee will approve it or not. And maybe that's a part of the interview process. You come in and say, here's my plan, here's the people I want to bring in, and here's the GM. And they look at all of that and say, oh shit, that's great. Or they say, no, that's no good because we don't like this, A, B, or C. I don't know.
And at the same time, you got to think, is somebody smart enough to come in there and say, look, I'm coming to complete dysfunction. Either you're going to let me do this whole thing my way, or I ain't coming. That's a possibility.
I think so. And like I was saying at the last show, they may also have to sign longer contracts. Because remember, those contracts are guaranteed. So why come in there with the fear that you might get let go in the season and not be able to execute your plan, which is going to take, more than likely is going to take more than the season. Because I know if I was up for the job and they really wanted me, that's what I would do. I'd be like, I want my guys and I want 5-year contract.
And don't forget that John Gruden set precedents for this with the 10 million per year for 10 years.
Yeah.
There may be something.
Let's talk about that a little bit too, guys, because the contracts the Raiders are still paying these head coaches. AP signed a 2-year contract. So, hey, he can go, I guess he can go on holiday for the next season and enjoy his paycheck. Raiders are still going to have to pay him for that. I don't know. Maybe you guys know, I don't know Josh McDaniels' contract, but they're still paying him.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got another year on him as well. And then, like you said,
Yeah.
Scotty Waddy, I don't even know where we're at with Gruden, but he got a half a decade about in there, something like that.
I think Ziegler and Telesco still had something left on theirs. So I think we're paying.
I know it's not how it works, but maybe that's what they were saving all that money for. No, I'm kidding. We were wondering why they were saving that money. Hey, if you're watching over on Facebook, join us over on YouTube so you can join the conversation. Guys, let's get through some of these comments here as well. John Hayes, loving this, praying always, go Raiders, and thank you all. I believe the Raider Nation, praying always. Thank you so much. Ana Diaz, afternoon to you as well. Salute to you. Thanks for watching. What's good? Billy Davis, thanks for being in here. Lake Show Raider, go ahead, Omar.
Thank God for Tom Brady. Telesco didn't have no business with the job after he didn't trade up for QB last season. I hated this dude. Get the fuck out of here, Telesco. Somebody's happy.
Somebody's happy. I actually, Lake Show Raider, please expand on that, because I didn't like what's the disdain with him. I thought he did a good job. Look, maybe it was the Minshew thing. I don't know.
Well, he points out his big issue that he didn't trade up for a quarterback last season.
Look, we did a draft show. I was jumping out of my damn skin on the draft show. I said, if we don't get a quarterback now, we'll be in the same position next year. I can't read. I'm not no damn Aladdin. I don't read the future. It's common damn sense. That may have been the thing.
Yeah, maybe he. I always said, well, maybe he tried and nobody wanted to trade with him, but no one has ever said that he didn't try.
That's what we had heard, right? We had heard he tried. Right. He tried trading with Washington, got Jaden Daniels. Washington with Jaden Daniels, who I think a lot of us wanted.
Yeah,
but
all of us wanted Jaden.
We heard that Washington didn't want to do that, and now look, they're a playoff team. And by the way, I don't think the Raiders would have really been the team that, or I would say maybe they wouldn't even have made the playoffs just because they would have drafted Jaden Daniels. He might not even have the season with the Raiders. It's a whole different roster.
No, definitely, but we'd at least have that one piece now.
Yeah.
And sure. The other ones, no, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with what you said. I'm just saying, hey, we got to get back one day or another. You're gonna have to bite the bullet one day.
I agree with you. I just think to the Raiders fans, some of the Raiders fans who think it would have been just a simple cut.
Sure.
Would have drafted him, would have been a playoff team, everything would have been peaches and roses, which I don't think would have been the case. Great stepping stone for sure, and a huge piece that we needed, of course.
No, we're too dysfunctional to be plug and play. I agree with you 100%. I'm just, and we're agreeing, but it is one of the pieces we needed. At least we could have worked on something else. Shit, right now we need GM, HC, DC, OC, QB, RB, wide receiver. Goddamn, like all we
all the acronyms.
Boy.
We need all the acronyms. All the damn acronyms.
Was that a DMX song about 3 Kims?
Wow.
I mean, for real, I wasn't even exaggerating. Shit.
No, you're not. You should remix that song. Right in.
We need a G.
Yeah. Ben Johnson said, Silver Smoke Raider says Ben Johnson is the best choice, period. He goes on to say Ben Johnson wanted more say and to be in charge. That's why we fired the GM. Johnson wants both hands on, I believe. What do you guys think? Do you think Ben Johnson is a good fit? Go ahead, Scotty.
You know what? This just provoked a thought on for what he said. Yeah, I think Ben Johnson's a good choice. I'm not. There's no disagreement there. Here's the thing. You know what'll be interesting? If we go out and we get an offensive coordinator and sign him to 3 years, because that's what we didn't want to give AP. And I wonder if that's what started this whole chain of events here. AP, from what I understood, he wanted Kingsbury and he wanted Jaden Daniels. But okay, let's start with Kingsbury. They didn't want to give him the days. We're starting to see that Kingsbury was a good choice. He did what he did. He's doing what he's doing over there. AP wanted a quarterback. We're starting to see that Washington went and got a quarterback. They did something. So it's going to be interesting if this might be what Telesco, what did him in. Is that AP wanted what he wanted. You didn't give it to him.
Right.
And we'll
So
see
let's just elaborate on really quick. Let's circle back just a little bit. For those that don't know, we'll kind of fill in the blanks here. So Ben Johnson is, of course, the OC of the Lions. The rumor mill is going around, but this guy's in the middle of trying to win some playoff games, and there's plenty of rumors going around with Ben Johnson going to be a head coach next season. The Raiders are there, the Patriots, the Bears, the Jags. So there's a lot of interest in this. But hey, I mean, maybe he wants to finish what he started out there in Detroit too.
Hey, it's going to be interesting what he chooses to do and what situation he wants to put himself in. What do the Raiders have to offer? What does the other teams have to offer?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And go ahead, Omar, if you want to.
I'm not sold on Ben Johnson, but I don't have if we hired him, I wouldn't have anything negative to say. You know what I mean? Like, okay, he's a good coordinator. I mean, in my mind, my first go-to would be someone that's had success at head coach. That's why I kind of picked out Pete Carroll. He's the guy out there that name has popped up that I was like, wow, this guy who's had success. At this point, I think we need someone like that has more consistent success. It's a gamble. Ben Johnson is a great offensive coordinator. We've seen lots of those. We've seen the man geniuses. We've seen your Norv Turners who just all great offensive mind. We've seen this already. And sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. So it's still with a Ben Johnson, I see that it's still going to be a gamble. At this point, because of just everything that's going on, I would definitely go with more of a sure bet or closer to a sure bet. And everybody keeps talking about age. I keep saying, dude, Andy Reid ain't no spring chicken. The guy down in LA right now ain't no spring chicken either. He's in his mid 50s.
I'm not sure why age would have anything to do.
I don't either. Everybody keeps
especially like for coaching, younger almost seems worse because there's less experience there. So I'm not sure how age factors into it at all. To be perfectly honest, I think you could be a good or bad coach at any age, but I'm not sure why that would benefit the position.
Right.
Ana Diaz goes. Thanks for being a longtime supporter of the show. We appreciate you. Thanks for being a member of this channel. She says, I wonder if they even know what they are doing anymore. This carousel of nonsense is just getting old now. We agree with you. And FaZe, Liam Cohen did a good job with reviving Baker. That used to be the Raider blueprint. Yeah, 40 years ago. Let's see. Raider Paul, what's good? That was AP's fault, not Telesco. I'm not sure what you're speaking of here. We're getting to the comments a little later.
Maybe he's talking about the season.
AP got Telesco fired. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I don't know if that works that way exactly. I think
it's if anything, it's the other way around.
Right.
Yeah.
The other way around.
Yeah.
Space Beast, what's good? What's good, man? Thanks for tuning in. AP wanted to keep AOC. So I just want to talk about this a little bit. I thought it was very interesting in Antonio Pierce's last presser, the one on Monday, the day before they fired him. Again, we talked about how we thought the Raiders should not even have let him go out there. But the thing he said was, I feel like AOC is a starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, to me, that I was stuck on stupid. Like, if you thought that, you had the opportunity to make him a starting quarterback in the NFL. No. But instead, he pivoted and decided to start Minshew.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because my theory on this was that AP wasn't calling those shots. And I had already said from the jump, I think that was Telesco. These may be the reasons why Telesco is not here.
He overpaid Minshew, and yes. I think that was the pressure to allow me. And so the quarterback battle was close. And in my mind is, if it was close, Minshew being the veteran couldn't beat the young guy, then the young guy should get it. He's the incumbent. And this is what makes
they had success. They had success at the end. They had success at the end of last year when Minshew wasn't even in the damn picture. This guy takes over the team. They go 5-4. AOC went 3-1 against the AFC West. in that
All right, Scotty. But look, listen. Okay, you're thinking logically. We have to think the Raider way, okay? You got to think the Raider way. Like, settle down, because it's like, if that is true, if that theory is true, and AP didn't make those decisions and someone else did, we don't know that for sure.
No.
They certainly know it.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you can't really fire a guy based off that, knowing that that wasn't the decision he wanted to make.
But unless Tom Brady wants his coach in there. Unless there were two independent things.
That did come later in the season, so maybe.
I'm just trying to make sense of it. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I'm saying unless those were two unrelated things, Tom Brady wanted his coach, period, and he didn't agree with what Telesco was doing, with the rest of it.
Yeah, because I know for sure Telesco overpaid Minshew, and I think to me that created pressure. Yeah. And I think that's what, and I think AP still may have to own at least the starting decision. But I think that was some of the pressure and probably some of the conversations behind the scenes why someone may have felt the tie should have went to the higher paid quarterback instead of the incumbent quarterback. Sure. And like I say, I still think AP kind of has to own that. But at the same time, hey, Telesco, you couldn't have got anybody better than Minshew. I mean, Steelers got Wilson for $1 million. That would have been great because Denver was paying the rest of that salary. What a better fuck you ever that would have been to have Wilson on our team saying screw you to Denver twice. You know what I mean? So like I said, that whole thing in my mind would definitely contribute to Telesco being out the door. Josh Jacobs. The Josh Jacobs story is almost like the Cliff Kingsbury story. They wanted just a little bit more than what you were offering. You said no, and they went and got it elsewhere and did well elsewhere. That's firmly on Kingsbury. I mean, on Telesco.
Sure.
And
100% agree.
I'm sure he wanted Jacobs back. I'm sure. And we know he wanted Cliff Kingsbury. He's the one who got him in the building. That was one of his.
And what happened? And what happened? We ended up with no running back and with no offensive coordinator. So there it is right there. I mean, damn.
We came with plan B. Plan B got us 4 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
And somebody may be in there saying, well, great. Brock Bowers was logical. Anybody could have done that.
But philosophy, like I said, it was a shocker. Like at the end of the whole draft, it was still a shocker to Raider Nation to see someone from Raiders pick best player available, and no
doubt, no doubt. But that doesn't mean that Brock Bowers isn't the most decorated tight end to ever play the game in college.
Oh yeah.
So you can make a case to say anybody could have done that.
Yeah. So
you can make that case. I mean, I don't know. That's my logic, anyways. Hey, what?
We got some more. What do we got in here? Raiders. We finally have a winner in the building. Brady is going to change the culture. Well, I hope you bring structure with that culture, whatever it is.
These are, I don't, let's see. De'Arion, is that it? De'Arion Morris, thanks for tuning in. I don't know how you felt about Tom Brady before, but a lot of these Brady comments, have you asked any one of us about Tom Brady more than maybe a year ago, we would have been like, oh, hail to the nah. Now we're all like, shoot, why not, right?
I think it's the Raider PTSD is what it is. We're like, fuck it, none of this has worked. I'll try that then. That's where I'm at anyways. I don't care who comes in as coach. I don't care who's the GM. I don't give a damn. Make it work.
I see it. Loyal to the soil. I see this. AP couldn't coach. Keep that 100. I saw him make a few mistakes, but I want to know what, besides a few mistakes that he made over this season, what else are people saying that or saw that says, oh, you can't coach? Because players aren't saying that. At least I haven't heard that yet from a player, and that's what I am waiting on. I'm waiting for players' review. They're in and out of the locker room.
Well, it definitely wasn't working, right? It definitely wasn't working. I don't think he was a great coach, but now I feel like we'll never really know because, like, we've said this over and over again. He was set up for failure, basically. No coach could have coached this team to a winning season. I don't think. There's no weapons there whatsoever. There's no quarterback. It's all dysfunctional, inconsistencies, and I think anyone would have failed.
And Lions fans said the same thing about Dan Campbell when he only won 3 games. Like, oh, fuck, this guy can't. I'm sure they did. He won 3 games his first season. I'm sure people said the same thing about him, except what did the Lions do? They gave him more time.
Well, here's another point to that. Why is it that we gave JPJ a pass on all those penalties? Because he's a rookie. Why is it that we give other rookie quarterbacks a pass? Because they're a rookie, but you're not willing to give AP that pass?
Right.
I'm not saying he's a great coach. I'm not saying he was the answer. I'm just saying
he's a rookie.
This might have been a little bit too premature.
Yeah, I mean, you just hit on a great point. I was looking because ever since we hired AP full-time, I've always compared it to Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's a big rah-rah guy. Dan Campbell has never been a coordinator. Dan Campbell was a tight ends coach. He got kicked into the interim head coach position. Then he went to another team and was tight end coach and assistant head coach, and then became a head coach. He had a little bit more coaching time at the pro level than AP because AP spent 1.5 seasons as a linebacker coach and then got thrown into the interim position and then head coach. So you're talking about a guy that does not have hardly any NFL coaching experience and would still had these guys, even the players are saying, dude, through that 10-game stretch, this guy had us fighting for every inch we could possibly get. Yep. Now you take that and get a better offensive coordinator, calling some better plays, and not a hella injuries and a quarterback. You really think this guy couldn't have done well if you gave him better ingredients? I still think that pot of gumbo would have finally came out pretty good if you let it cook a little longer. It takes all day to make gumbo, not an hour.
And it was worth giving him another year to try to see if that would come together. It's 1 year. What are you going to lose?
Well, at the end of the day, they did not. I'm going to pivot here a little bit. And my biggest concern with these decisions are Mad Max said it on his show, The Rush. If you watched it, if you saw it, he said something along the lines of, I need to see. He was disappointed. It sounded like he was disappointed that AP went. He was very vocal about wanting AP as the coach. He didn't seem like he was trying to be like middle of kind of ground there, but he did say something that was very profound, which freaked me out a little bit because, you know, I love my boy Mad Max. He said he is going to have to wait and see what the decision, basically, I'm paraphrasing, wait and see the decisions the Raiders make for head coach and GM, and then he's going to make the best decision for him. And that's really the first time we're really kind of hearing it coming from him, kind of saying he's not happy and happy to look elsewhere. Then we can't blame him.
I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him.
It's just a snowball effect at this point where now because we're firing coaches and we're firing GMs and there's no consistency. The only consistency is inconsistency. Now we're out there going to lose our best players. Best player.
Look, you turn around and you look exactly at Omar's example of Ben Johnson. Couple years, we turned it around. Look at Denver. Gave the coach 2 years, he turned it around. Look at Washington. You give them a few pieces, they turned it around. What do the Raiders do? We don't do shit. We turn around. We do 180s.
Yeah. Whoever the next coach is, we got to give them time. Nothing is going to work. I don't care who the coach is. Who is the greatest coach of all time without Tom Brady? You know what I mean? One of those guys. If you don't get time, nobody's going to succeed for us.
That's what I'm saying. Has Mad Max given the Raiders enough time? Here's the question. Has Mad Max given the Raiders enough time to get their shit together? Yes or no?
Of course.
Absolutely he has.
And he's unhappy. He said he's had coaches. He's had 5 different coaches.
Yep. Absolutely.
And he's also kind of complain, whatever word you want to use, about being happy with the D-line.
Yeah.
And then next year he comes in with a clean slate.
Yeah.
Start over again.
So you're going to be mad at this man because he wants to win? Stop it. Stop it.
Not me.
Hey, I hope he stays. Don't get me wrong. But I can't be mad at him.
I don't think anybody at this point. I don't think anybody would be. We'll be upset that he's gone, but I don't. Yeah. Well, you know what? I can't speak for Raider Nation because we find ways to get mad at shit.
Fucking pissed if he's gone, but I wouldn't be at him.
Mad at him, right?
I would be mad at the Raiders.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. 100%. I don't think anybody would be mad at Max, but we would be all mad because it's just another part of that revolving door that needs to stop. So can't build a winning team if you're losing your foundation. So.
Mother Moon's my biggest fan. I love it.
That's Scotty Waddy. Why are you yelling at me?
These motherfuckers, Mother Moon, damn it.
Even his name is kind of half yelling. Why you got the S and the C capitalized?
I don't know, damn it.
Mandatory run, the recap. What's good? There has been 53 interim coaches in the NFL. 11 out of that actually got the job, and only one had a winning season. Jason Garrett. Yeah, thanks for that tidbit. That's a great little trivia question. But I mean, the Raiders have only had, I think, 3 interim coaches in the past, 25 years. So if you take that out of the equation, counting John Gruden, I'll count him as twice because he came back. I believe that still puts the Raiders at 14 different head coaches over the last 25 years. I believe we're going on to our 9th with just Mark Davis being at the helm. So that's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, for a guy who came in and said, "Oh, I don't know that much," he is still done. I was like, "Oh, he's gonna go and learn." And at this point, I'm like, man, I remember that when he first took over the team, he was saying this, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, he's gonna get some good people, and nothing.
Here's the thing. We went through this season, and I think the consensus was, look, man, let's stop firing everybody. But I think we all saw Luke Getsy wasn't working. You got to fire the one that's just blatantly out there. But maybe somebody needs to be in Mark Davis's ear and say, "Hey, bro, look, man, give the coaches and the people time to get developed."
Honestly, I think there's too many people in Mark Davis's ear, and I think that's probably part of the reason he can't find consistency. Like Omar's saying, whatever he hears, do that.
Yep.
2 days, whatever you do that.
Yep.
Whatever you hear, okay, do that.
Everything's a good idea and get executed without any, no fail safe. Just, oh yeah, let's do that.
Well, hold on, because there's a possibility that Mark Davis could be hearing us. Hey, Mark Davis, the 3 of us want a job. You can put us wherever the hell you want. I think this is a good idea, Mark Davis.
On the committee. Get us on the committee, Scotty. We need to be on this firing committee, man.
You give me a year with that money, I don't give a damn if you fire me after a year.
You know who we did here? I want to say this. We need someone in his ear like an Amy Trask who was in Al Davis's ear. Someone who actually cares about the team, who cares about winning, who knows her shit, and wasn't afraid to stand up to this man that everyone was apparently afraid to stand up to. Amy Trask, come back. Amy Trask, we need you back.
He does have another executive, but she doesn't handle any football operations. She's just completely on the business side.
It's not even her job title. That's not even in her job title. You're talking about Sandra Douglas Morgan. That's not even in her job title. That's not her lane whatsoever.
But should it have been? Should someone, maybe it wasn't her, but when that hire was happening, should it have been? That's my question.
I don't think so. I think she'd go where she at.
I don't know. So. Yes, I think you're right. We need like a VP of operations or a president of operations who handles all of that, who knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? Who has a philosophy and knows how to structure a process so that when you are hiring a coach, you understand what their vision looks like and the time it may take to get there, and you agree to that. So, if you're hiring and it says, hey, it's going to take me 2 to 3 seasons to get us to be a competitive playoff team. You understand that, and you wait for that 2 or 3 seasons to see if it happens. And if not, at that point, you know what I mean? You got to go. Because that's still more functional.
I saw an interview with John Gruden just shortly before the show, and it said that when he first came on with the Raiders with Al Davis, he said that the interview was 4 days long. He said that he asked him shit that was so off the wall. He asked him where people were from, what school they went to, all this stuff, and he really wanted to know what your football knowledge was. Maybe that's not what's happening. I'm not saying we need 4-day interviews, but maybe that's not what's happening right now. And the interview process is more the buddy system, and the homie discount system than real interviews on what football is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's happening.
Jay, what's good? Does anyone want to read this one?
Oh, yeah. Raider, I think we just said this. Raider have no president of football operations, no vision, no plan, no structure, no hope, just moron Mark making random decisions. Yeah. That is definitely what's echoing through this show right now. And without that, like I say, is Tom Brady going to be that? Without the title, just, minority owner, yet is he going to instill this? I hope so, because like I say, he's not a talent evaluator, but something like this he could implement. You know what I mean? Hell, you can go get a fucking consultant to help you restructure your organization. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what but first you got to acknowledge that this needs to be done. And is Mark even intelligent enough to understand that you know what?
Hey, I don't want to be rude and go look this up right now. Maybe somebody in the comments will. Well, what did Tom Brady go to school for? What's his degree in? Just a thought. Just a thought.
Speaking of that, there was another thought on that, Scotty. And I mean, you're onto something right now, but somebody had just called this out, and I snagged it for the show. It says, fans are led to believe that maybe Tom Brady, who has never run an NFL franchise, nor the ownership suite, never coached an NFL team, never spent a single day as a personnel executive or talent evaluator, might be the requisite magic wand to resolve all problems. I don't know if I'm putting that much on him, but can he be smart enough to understand we just need some structure and get some things done to put a system in place for all this? I mean, because like I say, you can go pay a few consultants to help you do this if you understand how badly it needs to get done. So,
So this is what I just Googled. I don't know if this is true, but those could definitely help.
Hey, the psychology could be Mark Davis. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, so you should sit down. And the business could be, hey, Mark Davis, I'm going to take over this because I know how to do it. I went to school for it in Michigan a few years ago.
Or simply smart enough to say, we need some help, and I know some folks that can help get us going. You know what I mean? Like I say, people hire business consultants all the time because they recognize there's some area of opportunities that they don't have the expertise to fix. I mean, it happens. So,
I'll say I think it was me and Omar. I'm not sure about you, Spicy, but we applauded AP on getting some people to help him with things that he didn't know. It's the same thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's one of the things that sold me on him, is saying, hey,
me too.
I have a lot to learn. He was very honest about that. Yeah. This guy didn't walk in here and say, hey, I am the guru. I'm not man genius. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I like I said, those are one of the things that really sold me on him, that he can motivate men. Everybody respected him, and that he knew he had a lot to learn and put people in place to help him.
Sure.
I mean, what more can you ask for someone who is coming in to do a job that they didn't have a lot of experience doing, but understood what they needed to know to get it done? So,
well, and the people who hired him knew that he didn't have that experience either. Right. You know what I'm saying? They put him
hide it. He didn't hide it. He said it to the world.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But if you expect Rome to get built in a day, like Mark, like moron Mark, as someone called him.
Jesus.
I love that name now. I love that name, dude. You know, like shit.
Eminem. Cool. It's Eminem.
Right? There we go, for sure. Well, let's be our little code. We'll be our code in case we meet him. We're like, Eminem,
Oh, jeez.
my man.
There, my man. Let's just have it say it stands for my man.
Wow. People might start making flags. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean that the graphic that was put up. I mean, it's absolutely right. You know, and we're saying that he can't. We don't know if he's a great talent evaluator and all that, and he may be great. We just don't know it. But it's not by default just because he had good play on the field that automatically translates. That's all we're saying. Again, he may be great. Who knows? We'll see. But
So let me throw this to you. This is put in my ear from my backstage producer. Does Mark maybe not care so much about winning? Because is he really a moron if he's printing money and making money hand over fist? And is that his priority? And maybe winning, just win, baby. I don't know. Have I ever heard him say that? Has anyone ever heard him say that? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe he's not such a moron. I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing in my ear. What do you guys think about that?
I think he's
several times on here. He is winning. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, you suck as a businessman." No, you don't. If your seat gets sold, and you don't care which bank account it comes out of, whether it be a Raider fan or an Atlanta fan or a Chicago, if you don't care about that, is he winning? Sure, he's winning. The seat got sold. That was the point. The beer got sold. That was the point. So.
And the arm candy's getting younger and hotter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And none of them knew who he was. None of them knew.
I can't say that. Realistically, jokes aside, I can't say if he's a moron or not. The only thing we absolutely do know about Mark Davis, in my opinion, is that he doesn't know football. He's made some great business moves money-wise. I mean, he's now 3 times richer than he was in Oakland from the decisions he's made. He owns another sports team. So I can't truly say outside of joking that he's a moron, but I will say very seriously, he does not know football. He wants to win and have no idea how to truly do it. That's the one thing I can say about that. From outside looking in.
Sure, I gotta agree with that.
I mean, who would ever think I'd be standing up for Mark Davis? But let me throw this one at you. The Raiders have been sucking a lot longer than the years he's been running this.
Yep, but
this is going back 40 years. He's only been in control for how long?
Right, and he's only 5 coaches into the 12 that we so his dad is responsible for the other 7, but.
There you go.
But to just continue dysfunction don't make you the smartest person in the room, though. Like I say, he doesn't understand football, and you would definitely have to have some deeper insights to correct. If your family handed you a business that was hella dysfunctional, and that's all you've seen, and not even seen that very deeply, you're not going to bring much to the table to correct that. You know what I mean? And like I said, he had me sold early on when he was like, I think he had Wolf in his ear, who I think told him to hire Reggie McKenzie and all this stuff. And you know what I mean? He did that for a minute. And that was the one thing I think he did do differently than Al, is he consistently have brought in general managers. Remember, for a while there, Al, wasn't Ron Wolf the last general manager Al even had? and I don't remember anyone else after that until we brought in Reggie McKenzie. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So at least in my mind, that was the one change he did do, but he ain't sticking to any guns. You know what I mean? The moment things get a little rough, we've seen that guys go out the window. I mean, I'll go back to Hugh Jackson when he first got the team. Hugh Jackson's first season, he went 8-8. I was pretty excited. You got the shaft.
All right, guys. So we got about 10 more minutes here before we're going to go. We can sit in here and talk about what has been done all day long. Let's pivot a little bit, because really, where do we go from here? What do you guys think is the top priority? Obviously, it's hard to say the top. You want to say, head coach, obviously, GM, obviously, quarterback, obviously. They're all so important. How do the Raiders even just quick version of how do the Raiders even begin to rebuild? This is a complete rebuild now at this point.
Well, yeah, the whole thing is torn down, and
And also, let me add to that while you guys are answering. Who else do you think is next? Who else is out the door? I don't think this is over.
Well, it's been said that the offensive coordinators are going with Belichick. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's been said. It's seeming as if Patrick Graham is gone. It looks like he's going to take a better opportunity. So as far as people being gone, I think those are going to be the main ones that are going to ring the loudest. It's a you think of a rebuild and you think of tearing down the team, but this is a complete rebuild of the organization,
Both.
all the way damn near up to the owner. It's up to the president at least right now, because it's from the GM down. That's more than a rebuild, if you will. So that's going to be difficult. Where do you start? Put some pieces. Let me throw this out. Put some good pieces on the field, and that'll make the whatever's above them look better. And then it'll seem like good decisions. Because winning is going to, like we said, winning cures everything, right? It's going to make the GM look better. It's going to make Mark Davis hired him. And it's all because of that running back that you picked out of whatever, college that made the difference on the field. So put the players on the field. I say you start with the players. Make everybody else look good, because you guys at the top make everybody else look bad.
All right. Let's read some of these. Or go ahead, Omar.
I was going to say, I think we've already started to see what the future looks like. And we said it early on, Tom Brady. Everything I've read says he's going to be very involved in this decision-making. I did only read one article about some committee. That to me would be a huge change. And I would love to know if that happens and who's on that committee, and see if, like I say, that could be the start of some type of structure. I don't think anything matters if we're not going to get consistency and whoever we choose as GM and coach gets time. I just don't think it's going to change. And I think whoever they got to be, I think I was texting you guys this, whoever this head coach GM combo is going to be, Max needs to like him. Max needs to be a believer, because I think he's a domino. I think where Max goes, a lot of other people will easily follow. A lot of people who are under contract and ain't going to go anywhere, of course, will buy in, depending on who the coach is. But I do think that we need to find someone that Max can buy into, because I think that would be a saving grace, especially for one of the pillars of the team. So
let me ask you guys this, and I'll ask the chat this as well. This is I know how we typically feel. There's been a lot of ups and downs, emotions, and things like that with this. We're loyal Raiders fans. We have been for years, for decades. We've suffered through a lot. Would there be a final straw to say, I am over this shit?
As a fan?
Yes.
God damn.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I've already been through hell with this team. Oh man, in my mind, I would. Unless they go out of. I said this, I think, a long time ago when they were leaving. Not a long time ago, when they left Oakland, and I had some friends who had been Oakland Raider fans before they left to LA. They were done. They were like, dude, this is the second time I've seen them leave. I gotta go. And I was saying I could never not be a Raider fan unless the Raiders itself went out of existence. So I still feel that way.
I don't think there's anything that can make me stop. The Raiders are we're just a little bit different. I bet every team says that or whatever, but it's difficult. I don't know that there's a straw that can not make me not be a Raiders fan. I think it goes back to my comment that I made. Let's not use surprise on a Raider show ever again, because they don't mix. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, yeah, you just learn to accept. I think.
All right, fair enough.
Houston Oilers. I'm a Raider fan.
Yeah.
What's that?
You know how the Oilers became the Titans? Unless that happens to the Raiders, it's Raiders for life, man.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, remember, thank you all for watching. We don't really have a set schedule for this show anymore. We're going to try to come to you anytime some shocking or maybe not so shocking with the Raiders, as Scotty pointed out, news comes through. So we appreciate you all jumping on with us on this unique day at this unique time. Remember, light that torch, hit that like button. If you haven't already, you can subscribe. It's free to subscribe, and you can be a join to become a member as well. And hey, we'll keep popping on. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. All right, Raider Nation, we're not giving up on them, right?
Never.
So you know we go out one way and only one way. Raiders! Thanks for watching, Raider Nation. Remember, light that torch, hit that like button. We'll catch you next time.